Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten,
and you're listening to
lurking in the shadows.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? It is a rainy, ugly day here in good old dirty Myrtle. I'm back home.
It's raining here too, actually, pretty hard
Is
in
it?
Lancaster.
Oh,
PA.
nice. We currently have wildfires going on, so we needed the rain. So,
Yeah, it's actually a blessing. Hopefully
yeah,
it helps.
hopefully I haven't gotten the update yet, so I'll have to look then. But
Yeah, let me know.
uh, I will. So today's case is my case. It is a very sad case, unfortunately. It's not like graphic or gory or anything like that. It is just a sad case. So I think I'd rather just jump right into it.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a quote then. This is from the ASAN website, which is the Autistic Self Advocacy Network, which is a nonprofit agency that advocates for disabled individuals and specifically autistic individuals. So this is a quote from, well, it's not a quote, it's from their website, which we will link. In the past 5 years, over 542 people with disabilities have been murdered by their parents, relatives, or caregivers. Every year, on March 1st, the disability community gathers across the nation to remember disabled victims of filicide, disabled people murdered by their family members or caregivers. And like I said,
This is
we'll
perfect timing
yeah,
because
because
it's March 5th.
it's March 5th. It just passed. So
Yeah.
we'll link that if you want to check out, like I said, nonprofit. So if you want to donate or just see what they're all about, see how else you can help. Obviously, I know we're all going through a tough time. So if you can't donate, that's okay. But, just bringing some traffic to their website probably helps a nonprofit. So um, we are talking today about Daniel Howey. He was born in Illinois. He was a 37-year-old wheelchair bound man with intellectual and developmental disabilities. From this investigation, we learned that Daniel had been estranged from his family, specifically his mother, for the past 12 years, which, like I said, his background's a little sad.
Yeah, sounds sad.
I couldn't find any criminal record, or actually, let's be real, I really couldn't find much record of like him in his growing up life. If he was 37 and he's estranged for 12 years, so he would have been in his 20s when he was, in Illinois with his family and then was estranged from them. So he's 37 now. He was 37 at the time of this. But what we no criminal record, like I said, but we did know is that somehow Daniel, even being wheelchair bound, made it to Houston, Texas area, and he wound up making it to a group home eventually after overcoming homelessness. So I know, so just trying to make it out there, but when he got into the group home owner was Carol Richardson. Let's get into how much of a piece of shit Carol is.
Oh, let's do it.
Here we go. In Texas, before 2021, anyone could open and operate a group home. All they needed was
That's a little concerning.
yeah,
Anyone?
anyone, any Joe Schmo, anybody who wanted to just do that. In 2021, the law changed. That's how, you know, that's not long ago.
Yeah.
All they needed was a permit and to uphold to 17 different regulations slash rules that, the police department, like county, upheld, because it wasn't a state run facility or anything like that.
Hmm.
Carroll opened and then eventually shut down 7 different group homes. The last home closed in 2020. He had over 200 citations that were
God.
that were at least $500 each. Every time the police department, now, and this is the department that in Houston that was in charge of like doing the boarding homes and stuff, their title was the Mental Health Division Boarding Home Enforcement. Every time they came to one of Carol's group homes, he was given all 17 citations. Like there were 17 rules he needed upheld. He didn't do a single one.
My God.
So, yeah. he
Why do these
just
people even want to run group homes? Like,
money.
it's always like the worst people.
Yeah, literally. And it's and we can link this too. I did find even an article because I guess, I mean, specifically in Texas because this law had to come about. But the one article I found was telling you how to like vet a group home to make sure it's like a proper one. And
Wow.
because like I'll give you the information then, but by the name of this group home and everything, you wouldn't suspect a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how you get into one of those or how you advertise one of those, but especially when the laws, I mean, the laws were different. So he only cared about the money. He didn't care about any of the people that were living in the home because 7 different homes, 17 citations. Come on.
Yeah.
He literally just probably took it like a parking ticket, was like, whatever.
Yeah, probably.
So, with this was pretty much all of his group homes, like each one, as each one's shut down in the next one. This is how they all were. But this is the horrible details that I found of the last group home. So this group home was called the Caring Hands Group Home. It was a 2-story, 4-bedroom home with 7 beds to a room. 35 people were living there. And if your math is math in there, Kirsten, there's not enough beds for everyone in 4
Yeah.
bedroom. Okay. So where else would you put people to sleep?
On the floor.
Oh,
Somewhere terrible.
just in the fucking garage with no AC in Houston, Texas.
Oh my God.
There was just mattresses all over the floor in this place. Just lined up. There's just rows of mattresses out in the garage. There was only one functioning bathroom for 35 people. There was basically no food or medications, and the place was infested by roaches.
So did none of these people that stay there have family involved that ever came to visit them and saw these conditions?
I mean, in Daniel's case, no. And
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like it was in a lot of people's cases. And I really feel like, because there obviously was group homes out there that were like doing it the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and like people were properly being taken care of and stuff. I feel like these group homes was a lot of like where the homeless with disabilities or health issues would go in there. I mean, I couldn't find any information. It was Carol running them. He was probably charging whatever he wanted to. He didn't care. He was just making
Yeah.
some money, stealing from these people. It was probably a rotating door. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like just people in there just happy to have a bed to sleep on. But
Reminds me of Dorothea Puente.
yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying is I feel like each home, each time the people maybe just didn't have, or that was the best they could get. They knew that that
Yeah.
was the best they could have, type of thing, which is unfortunate. It really, really
Yeah.
is. That's a really sad situation. But, um, I'm not, no matter what, with these other families and like stuff like that, no quote unquote business should run like this. So,
Right. Yeah, that's why I wonder if a lot of these situations family wasn't involved, because at the hospital we'll get people sometimes from a group home, but like they still will have family members involved. So I feel like if family was involved with any of these patients or people,
I
they
mean,
would have
maybe
reported
that's where the
what they were
citations
seeing at
came
that
from.
home. Yeah,
I
maybe.
mean, he's getting citations, so maybe. I mean, it's the same as like,
So someone must be reporting something.
yeah, it's same to me like Gabriel Fernandez case.
Mm-hmm.
Kept reporting, kept going to the house and things like that, but nothing was being done even with the
Right.
citations or whatever.
Yeah.
So it very
It's just a
much,
piece of paper.
huh?
It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah. And also I wanted to say this earlier and I forgot to, is like this case is not through trial and stuff yet. So
Oh, okay.
once like you'll notice in here later, especially when I go through the crime and stuff, there's so many gaps and holes and of like details that we would want to know that you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like, oh, I want to know like from
Yeah.
point A to point B, how did he get from point A to point B? I don't have those details yet. So, but this story, and I'll tell more details then, but it was still worth telling, and hopefully I can give an update later on
Yeah.
it. But I don't. The trial did not happen. Like they have not been sentenced yet. So okay. So no medication, no foods, infested with roaches. But apparently none of the neighbors noticed anything, is what they said. They were, yeah,
Okay.
interviewed neighbors. It was just a regular suburban neighborhood too. It was nothing, it wasn't like inner city or anything like that. All
Mm-hmm.
of the residents that were living in the home had mental or physical disabilities or health issues. There was, you ready for this, Kirsten? You're going to enjoy this. There was a triple amputee not getting cared for, and a man with a gaping open, with multiple, plural, gaping open wounds. This is quote unquote in his abdomen, not getting cared for.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
13 people were taken to the hospital. All of their
thank
ages,
goodness.
but that was out of 35. So 13 people went to the hospital because they needed to. I know 20 some got transferred, and a couple others did have family come and get them, type of thing.
Okay.
Um, but all their ages ranged from 38 to 82 years old.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it was a big range. The one employee who was Carl's accomplice was Sean Sandals. Sean is also one of the main reasons why Carl was actually caught. So Daniel unfortunately ended up in this Caring Hands group home, and in May of 2020, Daniel got a $1.2 million personal injury settlement. And like I said,
Oh,
I couldn't find details on this. I bet once the case comes out, those like more details will come out. But so gone from homeless to now he got a $1.2 million personal injury settlement. But of
wow.
course, that didn't pass by Carol without him noticing.
Do you know what injury was from?
No, I couldn't find any information on the settlement. I couldn't find
Okay.
any court documents, nothing. And I'm wondering if because of the case, those aren't like public records right now.
Right, yeah, because it's in. They're still like investigating.
No
Bad
bark.
doggy.
He had a tattoo on his left shoulder blade, saying Rashawn.
Hmm.
So I guess a name, like that's how I would take it. I don't know who. He was wearing a gray University of St. Thomas t-shirt. The autopsy at this point was still not complete.
What?
Yeah, like this is March. I don't understand.
You usually do them right away.
Right? Like I couldn't, like I said, like a lot of information I couldn't find. I couldn't find
That's a
why.
lot of decomposing in how many months? What was that? 6 months?
Yeah, basically October to March. So end of March. So almost 6 months, 5 months.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know why, but the autopsy, it was not complete, but it was, once it was complete, they found out that Daniel was dumped. Okay. Daniel was dumped into Dutton Lake alive.
Oh.
on or around the 10th of October, and they found his body on the 13th. So his body had been in the water for a little while. And remember, he's wheelchair bound, so they just, a quote from one of the officers was, he was just dumped like a bag of trash.
Wow.
Yeah. So Daniel was reported missing around the time that his body was actually found, but his body was reported missing in Harris County. So I guess they didn't make the connection, weren't thinking that,
Mhm.
maybe from finding his body, they couldn't tell that he was, because like his wheelchair and stuff wasn't there. Or like him being missing at 37, maybe they really weren't looking into it. I'm not sure, but like it wasn't connected right away. The missing person and him being identified, his body being identified. But once he was identified in 2021, police captain Brian Baker was able to trace Daniel back to clean Channelview, Illinois, where his mother was staying. But that was a dead end because they figured out that they've been estranged for 12 years.
Mhm.
They then thought he was homeless at the time of his death because they really could not find any records that had him tied to the Houston area. Baker visited any of the addresses that came up that were associated with Daniel, but no one would speak up and say anything about, like, hey, I knew him or anything. So he struggled to find where Daniel was staying at the time. And it was really sad to think that he was like never he wasn't checked on. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
past March 2021. And he just disappeared. Nobody checked on him. Nobody cared to try and figure out what's happening to him. Nothing. Um uh Rope, I lost my spot on. Oh, and I put this little note in here that I was thinking to myself earlier when I was writing this that, it is really sad, like nobody was speaking up and stuff like that. But we also have to remember that wherever his addresses were going to group homes, we have no idea what the mental status of these people were,
Right.
that the police officer was going to. So also, like, who knows if they even remembered or anything like that. So
Mhm.
that also like crossed my mind earlier. So eventually, police were able to look into Daniel's accounts. Like once they had him identified and everything, they, like I said, once the case comes out, I'm sure there's more details of this will come out. But once they were able to look into Daniel's accounts, all the transactions to the group home's name and to Carol Richardson's name came out. They also found an eyewitness, which was Sean, who spilled enough details to confirm the motive to police, which was money,
Mhm.
for them to be able to issue a warrant for Carl's arrest. Both Carol, sorry, I said Carl. Carol, both Carol and Sean were indicted on May 30th, 2024. Sean was already incarcerated at the time. I could not figure out what he was incarcerated for. I really tried to figure that out, but I could not. Carroll was arrested June 3rd, 2024, when he showed up to a court hearing because he was out on bond. And are you ready to hear these charges that he was out on bond for?
I don't know.
Okay. 2 counts each: aggravated assault of a family member and exploitation of the elderly or disabled, 1 count of aggravated sexual assault, injury to the disabled with intentional bodily injury, and theft totaling over $300,000.
What the heck?
And some of his priors before this included aggravated robbery, felony possession of marijuana, and felony theft.
So he's a great guy.
Yep. Just running group homes for people who are handicapped. So this was the last update back in June. He was arrested back in June of 2024. Now we wait for the trial. I know, like, once that happens, the full story will definitely come out. and I think we'll see justice for Daniel at the time. He suffered a really unfathomable death to be
Yeah.
just dumped in a lake, like it was like a car overpass that he would have just been dumped in and left to die because he was in a wheelchair bound.
Do you know if he had any other injuries or if he was simply just drowned?
Simply just drowned, as far as I got
Okay.
from. I mean, I don't know if eventually, like I said, if more details will come out eventually, that we'll learn more. But
Mhm.
since they figured he was alive, I would have thought they would have said like gunshot wound or something like that if it was
Right.
something like that. But nothing like that came out. So they just said with autopsy that they could find that it took. Uh, Sorry if you can hear that. My parents are talking. Can you hear it?
A little bit.
Ah, goodness. Um, Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Dad. um, that he was alive when he went in the water. So, which is really, really sad.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if maybe there was any like physical abuse going on at this home. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, but um, it wouldn't surprise me, especially if Daniel was standing up for himself to try and turn Carol in. Then maybe he was somebody who they didn't mess with so much because he seemed to have more of a whereabouts of everything. So
Mhm.
maybe they were vicious people who targeted the weaker links.
Yeah.
I don't know. But either way, 35 people in a 4-bedroom house, I don't know how anybody could be properly taken care of. Let's be real here.
Right. Yeah.
And if you have, this is my final notes on everything. If you have any kind of abuse or something suspicious to report, specifically for those who are part of the disabled or elderly community, you know, those who maybe can't speak up for themselves or can't defend themselves, even though they try to speak up for themselves, like Daniel, please just call your local non emergency number and let's get justice for Daniel after way too long.
It's so sad.
It is. And I have some pictures, which I'll share with you then, Kirsten. And we will also be posting of what Carol looked like, the University of St. Thomas shirt that he was found dead in the lake, and also a picture of what I believe to be Daniel Howey. However, I cannot confirm other than a news report. I got this picture from a video from their news report, and it was a local news channel to this area that the crime happened. So I could not find his picture anywhere. This picture was on a article, like on the screen. I took a picture of it.
Mhm.
And on my phone, when I took a picture of it, I tried to use my Google search to search for this image so I could actually just save it on Google, and there's no results. So it's like that
Wow.
picture doesn't exist.
Hmm.
So that's how I have
That's
it.
sad that there's no known pictures of this poor guy.
I wanted to cover on this case, and we'll end with a little bit of chatting because I didn't want to
Yeah.
stick it too much in the beginning and bore everybody. But the reason why I wanted to bring attention to this is because also I am disabled myself, being somebody who is vision impaired. I felt like not enough cases of people with disabilities or challenges like that are talked about. And I didn't even know that there was an entire day of mourning, March 1st, that, you know, for victims of crimes like this.
I didn't
So,
know that either.
yeah.
It's just
So
kind of
now,
sad that I feel like it's not well known.
no. And I don't think I would have known about it without like wanting to research this. So even
Mhm.
somebody as who's disabled myself, that never came up in my radar that that was something to
Yeah.
a day to you know mourn people. And honestly, even finding this case, I definitely didn't want to dive into a child's case right now, but um
Yeah.
this case was just as sad, to be honest. Here, those people depend on other people to live. So to think that he he could have had such a break $1.2 million is a life-changing amount of money. And that man just took it all away from him, in a blink of an eye, and then killed him too.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, how many other places is stuff like this happening?
Yeah. I mean, he opened and closed 7. And he had so many previous charges of things, and him just being a terrible person. And he just ran everything illegally. So, like, that's why there was never 7 of them, and he never, I don't understand why he wasn't locked up yet. I didn't get the full time frame of like when all 7. I just know the last one closed in 2020. I don't know when he started opening them. He's a 50-year-old man at this time. So,
yeah. Okay.
He could have been doing it for a while. So, but that was the sad case. So everybody look out for some justice for Daniel in the future, because that trial, and they better get life.
I hope so.
Let's be real. Come on, Texas. Y'all never do anything else right.
I know.
We love you, Texas. Just kidding.
Yeah, Texas
Where am
is
I?
its own country.
Yeah. So make like a shadow and follow us on Instagram.
At Lurking in the Shadows. We gotta switch roles because I can't do this. We gotta change our podcast name. I'll come up with a new one.
You better still have that other
There goes my
recording.
glasses.
You better still have that other recording of you saying that. Like, yeah.
I do still have that one. I added it to the bloopers section.
Oh yeah, I uploaded a bloopers video that we could use then. But listen, I was perfect. What are you doing?
You were. You tried to say Lurking in the Shadows.
You just did. You can do it.
I know. I don't know why it comes out like that.
I can't even recreate whatever you're saying.
Lurking in the Shadows.
Shut.
Lurking in the Shadows.
I'm gonna die. Okay.
Right now I'm crying.
Me too.
Thank you. I gotta take speech therapy classes.
Close the door behind you. Y'all are loud. I'm gonna put that in there. We're putting that in the podcast.
We'll add it to our blooper.
Yep. Put it in.
There'll be a million of them.
Yeah. We don't even know how long my recording really was, because we've been trying to do this for 25 minutes now. How long was my recording?
We're at 36 minutes altogether.
So it was a 20-minute story? Oh, I'm gonna go kill myself.
Hey, some people prefer short episodes. Some people don't like long podcast episodes, so we'll be giving people a mix. Okay. Variety. Morbid used to do mini morbids.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'll stick to all the minis.
We'll call this
you stick to all the long ones.
Shorty in the Shadows.
Yes! Hell yeah. You had to edit all these. These are all gold. This is gold.
I'll do my best.
This is gold here. Okay. Look, I gotta wet my whistle.
I gotta unwet my eyes.
Did you drink anything today, Miss Need to drink more liquids?
I didn't drink much today yet, because I slept so long.
I'm gonna kick your ass. Do I look skinnier yet? I contoured my chin, so we can't count that, I guess. But
you do. Even when you sent me a picture the other day, your face looked thinner.
Oh, did it? Yay!
I did.
Good, because I can't notice a damn thing. And
oh no,
I do notice some things, but
Good.
Not as much as I would like. So, okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Make like a shadow and follow us on Instagram.
At Lurking in the Shadows podcast.
Send us a Gmail at
lurkingintheshadowspodcast@gmail.com.
check us out on TikTok.
At Lurking in the Shadows Pod. And keep lurking around for our next episode. I was like, what comes next?
You! Okay.
That went pretty well, though.
We can keep that one.